Welcome to District Command Central, your go-to source for the latest news and updates on the Washington Commanders. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a play. The Washington Commanders' Week 16 matchup against the Philadelphia Eagles on a chilly Saturday afternoon turned into one of the most chaotic quarterback scenarios the franchise has faced in recent memory, illustrating the precarious nature of NFL rosters when injuries strike at the most critical positions. With the news earlier in the week that Jayden Daniels would be sidelined for the remainder of the season, the weight of leading the offense fell squarely on veteran quarterback Marcus Mariota, whose experience and poise were expected to stabilize a team navigating an already turbulent season. As the game unfolded in a closely contested one-score affair, Mariota suffered a devastating combination of injuries, a quad strain coupled with a throwing hand issue, on the very same play, instantly turning what seemed like a manageable situation into a potential nightmare. The Commanders suddenly found themselves in a position no NFL team ever wants to confront. Only one quarterback available to finish out a game against a division rival riding high on momentum. The Eagles, ever opportunistic, pressed their advantage, and every snap became a question of improvisation, strategy, and sheer survival for the Washington coaching staff, who had to scramble on the fly while keeping their composure under the bright lights of a nationally significant matchup. Into this chaotic scenario stepped Josh Johnson, a quarterback whose last live action had occurred some time ago, thrust into a pressure cooker environment with the outcome of the game, and perhaps the season, hanging in the balance. Johnson's task was monumental: maintain offensive rhythm, manage the clock, avoid turnovers, and do so against a Philadelphia defense that excels at creating confusion and forcing mistakes. As he navigated his way through the snaps, fans and analysts alike began to speculate. What if Johnson were to succumb to injury as well? The question, both unsettling and fascinating, extended beyond simple fan curiosity and struck at the very heart of roster management. Typically, one might assume that former quarterbacks now playing other positions, such as receiver Luke McCaffrey or tight end Colson Yankoff, will be next in line to take over in an emergency. Both men had previous experience under center, making them logical choices should the unthinkable occur. However, in this particular game, circumstances rendered them unavailable, leaving head coach Dan Quinn with a situation so unorthodox it would test even the most seasoned football strategist. When asked about the emergency quarterback plan, Quinn admitted the scenario was highly unusual, explaining, "Such an interesting question. So yes, Luke was of course one, and yes, Yankoff was another, but in the last game, there was no Yank or Luke. So, are you ready for the one that was going to be in the last one? Not quarterback's coach, David Blau, good guess. It was going to be, and obviously working in some wildcat, receiver Jalen Lane." The revelation stunned those following the game, as Lane, a rookie receiver with limited live quarterback experience, had been penciled in as the third emergency option. While this may sound bizarre to casual observers, it reflects the intricate layers of contingency planning NFL coaches must develop, particularly when injuries cascade in real time. In essence, Quinn and his staff had to consider every potential domino effect, weighing prior experience, comfort under center, and physical readiness, all while the game clock ticked relentlessly forward. This is football at its most unpredictable, a high-stakes chess match where one misstep could have cascading consequences for the team's playoff hopes. Adding another layer to the narrative was the fact that Sam Hartman, who might have seemed a natural emergency candidate, was entirely ineligible due to his absence from the active roster. Quinn clarified that Hartman had not been elevated from the practice squad, removing him from consideration entirely. This detail is crucial, as it illustrates the limitations coaches face when planning for extreme contingencies. Talent alone is not sufficient. Eligibility and roster status can override even the most logical choices. Quinn reflected on the delicate balance between readiness and reality, noting that nervousness and rapid decision-making became critical factors as the situation developed. Fans watching from home could hardly imagine the mental calculations occurring on the sidelines, where every potential quarterback must be considered not just for skill, but for practicality, timing, and the ability to execute under duress. The orchestration of emergency plans, often hidden from public view, is a testament to the layered complexity of professional football management, and Washington's scenario provided a rare glimpse into that high-pressure world. Injuries continued to complicate the Commanders' game plan, further highlighting the necessity of adaptability. Jalen Lane, who had been designated as the emergency option, suffered an injury earlier in the game, forcing Quinn to pivot once again. So on the first punt of the game, when he's out, that plan changed. And so it became running back Jeremy McNichols. So there's always contingency planning. That actually went through my head after the first one. Okay, here we go, Quinn recounted, underscoring the unpredictable nature of the quarterback position and the importance of versatile personnel who can fill gaps in emergencies. McNichols, primarily a running back, represents a last resort choice in extreme scenarios, a reminder that in the NFL, coaches must prepare for the worst-case situations and often rely on athletes who can adapt on the fly. The scenario also demonstrates the critical value of depth across all positions, as injuries can rapidly transform a single player's absence into a cascade affecting multiple roles and strategies. Despite the chaos and injuries experienced in Week 16, Washington remains forward-looking, maintaining an emergency quarterback plan even as Jeff Driscoll returned to the roster. Quinn emphasized the importance of secrecy and preparedness, stating, "Let's keep it in secret for this week," while also noting that Colson Yankoff appears to be recovering from injury and may soon re-enter the emergency lineup. This approach highlights a key aspect of NFL strategy: the balance between public perception, tactical advantage, and internal readiness. While fans may speculate about potential disaster scenarios, the coaching staff must quietly ensure that multiple contingencies are in place, safeguarding against unforeseen complications. With 2 games remaining in the season, the stakes are high, and any lapse in preparation could have outsized consequences for Washington's playoff aspirations. In a season where adversity has been a recurring theme, the Commanders' ability to navigate these emergencies reflects not just resilience, but an organizational commitment to meticulous planning, adaptability, and unflinching focus under pressure. Ultimately, the Week 16 scenario serves as a microcosm of the NFL's inherent unpredictability. Even the most carefully constructed game plans can unravel in an instant as injuries, timing, and personnel availability collide in real time. Washington's coaching staff faced a series of split-second decisions with playoff implications, demonstrating the intellectual and emotional rigor required to manage an NFL team at the highest level. The combination of Mariota's injury, Johnson's unexpected responsibility, and the subsequent domino effect of unavailable options created a situation that few teams will ever experience with such intensity. It also offers fans an inside look at the hidden layers of strategy, where preparation meets improvisation, and where every potential contingency must be imagined, rehearsed, and occasionally executed in live game conditions. The Commanders, through this episode, showcase their ability to adapt under pressure, highlighting both the fragility and the resilience inherent in professional football and providing a compelling narrative for the remainder of the season. As the NFL season races toward its conclusion, Washington's experience in Week 16 will likely be remembered as one of the more dramatic illustrations of emergency planning and adaptability in professional sports. The team managed to navigate injuries, maintain offensive operations, and provide a window into the intricate calculations that coaches like Dan Quinn must make under extreme pressure. The unfolding narrative reminds fans and analysts alike that in football, the margin between success and disaster is razor thin, and preparedness is often the only safeguard against chaos. With 2 critical games left to play, the Commanders are not only fighting for wins, but also demonstrating a broader lesson about resilience, strategy, and the unanticipated challenges that define the NFL. In a season where almost everything that could go wrong has gone wrong, the franchise is yet to fully encounter the scenario of losing all quarterback depth, but the contingency plans developed in Week 16 ensure that they will face the future with readiness, resourcefulness, and a clear understanding that in football, as in life, the unexpected can, and often will, happen at the worst possible moment. If you're enjoying the coverage, Make sure to smash that like button and drop a comment with your thoughts on the Commanders' latest moves. We want to hear from you. Shockwaves are rippling through the NFL world as whispers and insider chatter suggest that the Commanders have made a move that could reshape the landscape of their roster in ways no one truly anticipated. According to sources close to the team's front office, the franchise has decided to part ways with Ben Sinnott, a player who has quietly but steadily been building a reputation as a versatile and reliable presence on the field. While trades are never entirely predictable, the rumor mill has been buzzing with talk that the return the Commanders have received in exchange for Sinnott is far more significant than many analysts and fans could have imagined. The sense of disbelief is palpable, with conversations across social media platforms, sports forums, and locker rooms everywhere pointing to the idea that this is not just another routine roster shuffle, but potentially a game-changing move with long-term implications. Sources close to the organization hint that the Commanders have been exploring trade options for Sinnott for months, carefully weighing the possibilities and gauging market interest. What appears to have caught the team by surprise, however, is the level of interest generated once the talks became more serious. Teams that were previously considered long shots emerged as legitimate contenders, offering packages and strategic assets that went beyond mere player-for-player swaps. The speculation now is that the Commanders were not just looking for a direct positional replacement, but were instead seeking to leverage Sinnott's value into something that could bolster their strategic depth across multiple facets of the roster. This could be in the form of draft picks, young, emerging talent, or even a mix of both. An insider suggests that the final deal reflects a shrewdness that speaks volumes about the front office's long-term vision. While the exact details of the trade remain shrouded in secrecy, the buzz around the league is that the return might include a combination of high-potential draft selections and a few hidden gems, players who have yet to fully break into starting roles, but whose ceiling is considered tantalizingly high by scouts and coaches alike. This has fueled speculation that the Commanders are quietly orchestrating a multi-year rebuild strategy that could catapult them into contention faster than expected. Some commentators are even suggesting that this trade could serve as a catalyst, allowing the team to reset its identity, blend youth and experience in a more balanced way, and establish a roster that is versatile enough to adapt to the evolving tactical demands of the modern game. If this rumor holds true, it may very well mark a pivotal moment in the team's trajectory, one that future historians of the franchise will look back on as a masterstroke. Fans are understandably divided, with a mix of shock, excitement, and cautious optimism dominating discussions across digital spaces. There are those who mourn the loss of Sinnott, pointing to his steady contributions, reliability in crucial moments, and the intangible presence he brought to the locker room. Yet, others are thrilled at the possibilities this trade opens up, envisioning a team that might now be positioned to acquire key pieces that were previously out of reach. The narrative emerging from insider whispers paints a picture of a front office that is not content with incremental improvements, but is instead making bold, calculated moves designed to shake up expectations and signal to both fans and competitors that the Commanders are playing a long game. This strategic audacity is precisely what has fueled the sense of shock surrounding the trade, as it suggests a willingness to take risks in order to potentially reap disproportionately large rewards. The timing of the trade also adds an additional layer of intrigue. With the league's landscape constantly shifting, and with rival teams jockeying for position through a combination of free agent acquisitions, draft maneuvers, and strategic trades, the move involving Sinnott appears almost cinematic in its timing. Industry insiders suggest that the Commanders may have been monitoring other teams' needs and weaknesses, waiting for a moment when Sinnott's value could be maximized in a way that would yield returns far beyond conventional expectations. If these rumors prove accurate, this could be an example of front office acumen operating at its highest level, anticipating not just immediate roster impacts, but cascading advantages that could extend across multiple seasons. Analysts are already speculating on how this might affect not only the Commanders' depth chart, but also their cap space, their draft strategy, and even the overall competitive balance in their division. The idea that a single trade could have such far-reaching consequences is part of what makes this speculation so irresistible to fans and insiders alike. Even within the team, sources suggest that reactions have been mixed but tinged with an undercurrent of excitement. Coaching staff and veteran players appear to recognize that while losing a player of Sinnott's caliber is never easy, the potential gains from the trade could create opportunities for others to step into more prominent roles. Rumors indicate that conversations within the locker room have centered around adaptability, seizing opportunities, and embracing a renewed team identity that may allow for more dynamic play calling and strategic experimentation. For some players, this could mean an accelerated pathway to visibility and career-defining moments, while for the organization as a whole, it could signify a step toward building a roster that is resilient, flexible, and increasingly difficult for opponents to predict. Of course, as with all rumors, skepticism is a necessary lens. Some experts caution against reading too much into unverified reports, noting that trades of this nature often involve complex contingencies, conditional picks, or performance-based incentives that can alter the perceived value of the deal once it is officially finalized. Yet the sheer volume of chatter and the alignment of multiple independent sources lend a certain credibility to the story, making it difficult to dismiss outright. If nothing else, the speculation alone has reignited discussion around the Commanders, thrusting the franchise back into headlines and sparking debates about roster philosophy, talent valuation, and long-term planning. The conversation has become so pervasive that even casual fans are now following the saga, weighing in on social media, and theorizing about the potential ripple effects on the team and the league at large. Looking forward, the implications of this rumored trade extend far beyond the immediate transaction. Should the Commanders successfully leverage Sinnott's departure into a series of impactful acquisitions or developmental successes, it could redefine expectations for how mid-tier talents are valued in the modern NFL. The trade could serve as a blueprint for other franchises contemplating similar bold maneuvers, demonstrating the potential rewards of strategic foresight, patience, and a willingness to think several moves ahead. For the Commanders, the trade represents both a risk and an opportunity, a calculated gamble that could either accelerate their ascent or expose vulnerabilities if the expected returns do not materialize as anticipated. Regardless of the outcome, one thing is clear. The ripple effect of this move has already reshaped the conversation, sparking a renewed sense of intrigue, debate, and anticipation that will dominate headlines for weeks, if not months, to come. In the end, the BEN SINNOTT trade, if the rumors hold any truth, may well stand as one of the most talked-about moves of the season. Fans, analysts, and insiders are all watching with bated breath, dissecting every detail, imagining every scenario, and speculating about the cascading consequences. The Commanders' decision, whether motivated by strategic genius, opportunistic timing, or a combination of both, has created a narrative that is impossible to ignore. As the rumor continues to circulate and more pieces of the puzzle come into view, one thing seems certain. The Commanders are sending a message, one that suggests boldness, ambition, and a willingness to take risks in pursuit of something far greater than the status quo. And in the world of professional football, where every move is scrutinized and every trade has the potential to alter the balance of power, the ripple effects of this reported transaction will likely be felt long after the headlines fade and the speculation becomes history. Thanks for tuning into District Command Central. Make sure to subscribe and follow us for all the Commanders news you need. Until next time, keep the faith and hail to the Commanders.